Good evening, everyone. Lori, I, and the Hatfields, oh man, would like to thank all of you for showing up tonight and helping us celebrate the marriage of Daniel and Macy. As a father, you always hoped this day would come. I'm not gonna lie. It's not easy to give your little girl away to another man. But I couldn't ask for a better man than Daniel. To take care of Macy for me, he's going to do a good job. Thank you. David, Julie, thank you so much for raising such a kind and gentle young man. Take care of my daughter for me. Capra, thank you so much for the moving ceremony today and all you've done for these two. Macy, when you were born, you stole my heart. You made me cry. For those of you that don't know Macy that well, when she goes into something, she usually gives it 110%. So I'm sure that their marriage will be no different. Oh, I lost my spot. Damn it. Macy, I remember when you came home from college, told your mother and I that you wanted to move to San Francisco. I was a little scared, nervous for you. You're just a little small town girl. But I knew how honored you were, so I figured you'd be all right over there. Now looking back, I'm so glad you made that move, because otherwise we wouldn't have this young man in our life. Macy, you have met and exceeded all my expectations for you in life. You have grown into a wonderful, thoughtful young lady. Your mother and I are very proud of the woman that you have become. Daniel, earlier I told you, I give you Macy's hand in marriage, but she's only on loan. She'll always be mine. Love you both. So now if you'll raise your glass and help us celebrate. To Daniel and Macy.
That's good, baby.
Thank you. That was great.
Thank you, Stephen. Coming up next, our first best man. We have two of them, so make sure you save a little champagne as we go along. Put your hands together for Ryan, your first best man, everyone.
Oh, man, Greg. That's Greg. And I was going to start with Greg because when I walked out, he called me the second best man. But he just fixed it, so I'm good with it now. I'm Ryan, this is Spencer, and we're the best men. I've been making a big deal out of first and second, and then he called me second, and it was touch and go there, Greg. I am very grateful to be here and grateful to have a role in this beautiful ceremony. Stephen and Lori and Haley and Hunter and Carly and Tegan, you've really done it. and we're so appreciative of your love for our brother and my baby brother, and of this evening and weekend, and it is everything that you'd ever want for your brother. And to Mom and to Dad and Gail, thank you for last night and all of your input over the weekend. It's been a beautiful weekend. And it started on Thursday for Kendra and I, my wife Kendra, and it started with this story that Macy was telling about how we're all obsessed with Daniel. That literally all of our family members, and turns out all of her family members, are obsessed with Daniel. And Haley has made it very clear that it was my job to roast them tonight. And I tried, Haley. I really tried. But I couldn't figure out how to roast Daniel and also live up to how great he is. And so let me say this. We're obsessed with Daniel because I think in our lives we all need people who save us and who love us when we needed it. And that was Daniel for each and every one of us. And some of it is light and some of it's heavy, and it goes back to an early age. For Nick Buffuno here, it was in a hockey game where he was in a fight, and Daniel wasn't a fighter, but he was the first to jump in anyways. And Declan can't remember a bad day over the last 18 years where Daniel wasn't the first one to text him or to love him or to care for him. And for Brown Bear here, Brown says that he's the best friend, but he's everybody's best friend because he's so selfless. Totally selfless. Totally selfless. And that's why when Grant needed one friend, he called Daniel. It's why Tom and Chelsea know that there's only one of their children's uncles that has been there when their kids got off the school bus. And it's why when Chelsea needs to cry, she calls you. It's why you're Spencer's first call. When Dad's having a bad day, he calls you. And when you were 16, you saved Mom. And in my worst moments, you don't just call once. You call on day 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and you saved me. And so we're all obsessed with Daniel because when we need him to save us, he saves us. Stephen, when she comes home mad because she had a bad walk back from work, or she actually has a really bad day, or week, or month, my little brother's going to give a shit. He's going to give a shit. Like nobody else. And so I raise a glass to Daniel, and I toast Macy because the truth is, while we're all here as the wedding party and as guests for Daniel, Macy, when my little brother needs saving, you saved him. You saved him. And he lives a full life because of one person, and that's you. And we're very grateful. And we're very glad that you're his wife and our family, and we lift a glass to you.
Thank you, Ryan. Ryan, that was an awesome, awesome toast. One of the best men toasts I've ever heard, and I would really hate to have to go after you. Spencer, come on over here. Step into the office. Let's go to work.
With an intro like that. As he said, my name is Spencer Hatfield. I'm Daniel's other older brother and the other best man. I also want to thank everybody who worked so hard to make this weekend so incredible. You know, today was just fantastic, and we're just getting started. You know, I particularly want to thank the Hansons, you know, for hosting us and getting, that's right, oh yeah, give it up. Getting to know your family just a little bit, you guys are incredible. And Daniel's incredibly lucky to now be a part of it. And I kind of want to point out that neither Ryan or I are particularly emotional people. But when it comes to talking about Daniel, we can very quickly be in our feelings. You know, I tried to organize my thoughts, what I wanted to say about Daniel at work last week, and it led to a lot of confusion as to why I was crying at my desk. But it might be because for so much of our life, Daniel wasn't just our younger brother, but he was our little brother. You know, I remember a skinny, squirrely, happy kid running around our house, organizing and reorganizing everything. If he wasn't doing that, we were making him play goalie for our street hockey games. And he quickly, almost overnight, he went from that to being in high school, where Daniel and I, we overlapped a year, where I was a senior and he was a freshman, and we were also on the same ice hockey team. So it was kind of my job to get Daniel up and out and go to and from school every day, and to and from practice every time, and to and from a game. So we spent a lot of time in the car together. And somewhere along the way in that year, Daniel went from this kid brother, where I felt like I had to look out for and protect and kind of show the ropes, to my best friend in the world. And he still is. So whenever I wanted to figure out what I wanted to say, and if there's a story out there that kind of encapsulates Daniel and what he means to us and to a lot of people, I wanted to find one that hopefully not everyone has heard. Even maybe his closest friends. I know there's some Sigma Chi's here. That's right, yeah. A bunch of animals. Even better, maybe a story that Macy hasn't heard. And ideally, one that can't be fact-checked. So I'm hoping Daniel doesn't remember it. Can you feel how nervous Mom is right now? All right, so here we go. The year is 1999. Daniel is 7. Our family's we're flying down to Florida for a vacation. And, now that I'm a dad, I can kind of vouch and appreciate what it means to fly with little kids and how special that can be. In the four of us, we're no exception, because when the four of us were kind of in that confined group together, one of us typically got in a lot of trouble. you know, and a lot of times I didn't deserve it, you know. But what I remember is that because of that, our parents eventually, at least for a little bit, they got wise and they started separating the four of us, where one parent would kind of take two of the kids and go to one side of the plane, and then one parent would take another two and go to a different side of the plane. And on this particular flight, I remember that Daniel and Ryan were at the front of the plane, and Chelsea and I were in the back with the lucky one. And the flight was relatively uneventful, but when we started descending, we must have hit some storm, because it was the worst turbulence I've ever experienced. You know, people were knocking back and forth, forward and up and down, and it was bad. And then we, without warning, we hit the tarmac. Boom! People whiplash, hit the seat in front of them, and people were kind of like in that moment of like, oh my God, are we going to make it to? Okay, we made it, but who are we going to yell at? You know, you could feel the refunds. People were getting our money back. And there was this calm, there's this moment that from the front of the plane, there was this cackle, this laughter, this pure joy. Where the rest of us went through something like pretty traumatic. Daniel just had the ride of his life. And in reaction, the people around him started to laugh. And then pretty soon the entire front of the plane was laughing. And then like at a football game, the wave, it went from one section to the other. It goes, okay, then the middle, and then the back, and just pretty soon the entire plane is laughing like kids. You know, there is a lot to talk about with Daniel, a lot to toast to. He's someone who's incredibly easy to admire. He's honest, he's loyal, he's a man of integrity. He's really easy to look up to. But what I knew on that plane, and that is true now, and every day in between, is that Daniel has a special ability to make every situation better than it would have been. So when Daniel saw Macy on a Skype interview, and decided, well, I've got to go out to California for a job. I mean, my first thought was there's got to be a closer job in California. But after meeting Macy and seeing them together, it was clearly the best decision he ever made up until that point. And getting to know Macy, out of all the million reasons why she's clearly so special, one of them has to be because Macy is to Daniel what Daniel's been to us. Where you are not only the best friend he's ever had, but every single day that you have been together is better just because you were there. And as his brother, it makes me so happy that for the rest of his life, whatever turbulence that he has to go through, I know that it will be so much better just because you were with him. And for that, I just want to say, I love you both so much. We are so happy you guys found each other. To Daniel and Macy.
Good job.
Appreciate it. Well, I have to say, Spencer, that was one of the best man toasts I've ever heard. That was fantastic. And I'd really hate to go after you. Representing the guys, let's hear for our co-best men. They both did a great job on their toasts. We're going to go over to the beautiful side of the table. Not saying you're ugly. Yes, I am saying that. The beautiful side of the table, and our maid of honor, the very beautiful but shy Haley. Everybody, let's hear it for her.
Give it up for the best men. It's hard to follow. Well, first of all, I want to thank everyone for coming. I know Macy and Dan not only appreciate it, but they wanted to share this special night with each and every one of you, as well as allowing you the pleasure to hear my speech. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Haley. I'm lucky enough to call Macy my sister, as well as my best friend. They say having a sister is like having a best friend you can never get rid of. You know, whatever you do, they'll always be there for you. Even if I were not blessed to be Macy's sister, I'd want her to be my friend. And I'm blessed that we have a love built on both friendship as well as family. Macy, you are my best friend, and you're stuck with me. And Dan, now you are too. In all seriousness, I've been lucky enough to watch as Macy has grown into a beautiful woman, and I know she's going to make the best and most wonderful wife. Whew. Macy and I have shared so many memories over the years, from sports teams, talent shows, high school dances, being roommates in San Francisco, and exploring the enjoyment of homeownership in Chicago. I could not be happier as I watch she and Dan take this next journey together. Whew. Now let me tell you about my best friend. Small but mighty immediately comes to mind. Macy is both loyal and dedicated to those in her life, and I'm sure that's a quality that immediately drew Dan to her. Although I'm the older sister, I've learned so much from Macy throughout my life. I love that we can go from giggling incessantly to who knows what, to having serious, supportive conversations, and she's always been my shoulder to cry on. Macy is the whole package, and Dan, that package is all yours. That brings me to Dan. Don't worry, I'm not going to roast you either. I first recall hearing about Dan when Macy mentioned a very cute guy from work that wanted to go on a date. Macy was concerned about dating someone from work and the impact therefrom. Lucky for Dan, I didn't ever share that same concern, and I pushed her and said, "This is not unlikely to be your forever job. This could be your forever guy." So do I want to take credit for their relationship? Of course I do. Doesn't it sound like I should? Now, Mason and Dan might remember that story a little bit differently, but I'm the one with the mic, so who are you going to believe? All jokes aside, Macy and Dan, you are a perfect match. I've watched your relationship, which I started, you heard about that already, blossom from the inception to today. These two are matching puzzle pieces that fit perfectly together. They share a number of things in common, but I think, as you've heard, the most important and special is their love for their family and their friends. The love and loyalty to their families is what I know will ensure a happy, healthy, and successful marriage for years to come. Macy and Dan's love is also mature. I've rarely witnessed a fight between them. I mean, usually it's actually Dan and I ganging up on Macy. But their mutual respect, maturity, and love allows them to face life and all of its adversities together and united. Of course, I didn't know Dan before Macy. However, as I watch these two together, I see how they bring out the best in one another. From the beginning, Dan, my heart has been full watching as Macy's loving, caring, and most importantly, goofy personality blossomed and thrived in your relationship. I've enjoyed watching their love story unfold. We even call each other the Wolf Pack, and I'm beyond grateful for Macy's, but even more so, Dan's inclusion of me in their lives. To say that I'm excited for these two is an understatement. Dan and Macy, today you officially become husband and wife, but your lifetime of happiness was clear to all of us in this room long before today. Before I was preparing my speech, I asked some friends for some advice on what I should give you guys today. Always be willing to grow and learn. Today marks the beginning, symbolizing the ability to continue to grow and learn from one another. Always make laughter the soundtrack of your marriage. Always prioritize date nights. I'll give you some space so you could do that. Always be your spouse's biggest fan. Always accommodate each other's families. And last but most importantly, always root for the Las Vegas Raiders over the Indianapolis Colts. But in all seriousness, when people were telling me these words of wisdom, as I wrote them down, I realized I could easily have checked them all off for Dan and Macy. So my actual advice to you is keep doing what you're doing. Your love is one to aspire to. I love you both. And with that, can everyone please raise your, you know what? Actually, glasses down. Wait. DJ, kick it. All right, stop, collaborate, and listen. Macy and Dan are starting a new tradition. Their love grabs a hold of them tightly, forever together, daily and nightly, together forever. Duh, we already know. Cheers to the Hatfields. Let's go. From the beginning, that's where we'll start. A job interview and a video meeting played a part. Dinner and a date in the park. Dates around SF provided the spark. Family and interests they both share. Immediately they knew they were the best pair. You better raise a glass, tonight will be great. Yo, if there was a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Check out the hook while my DJ revolved it. Dan married Macy. Dun, 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 da, 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 da. Dan married Macy. Dun, da, 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 da. Dan married Macy. Da, 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 da. Now, let's continue this tale with the moms finally meeting, a performance unveiled. Cheers to the Hatfields we cheerin', providing our best wishes, endearing, supporting them. Raise the shapes and sit. Perfect was this courtship. And they felt the exact same. They're on a roll. Today she takes his name. Rolling through San Francisco with plans to the Midwest they go. The family's on standby, bi-coastal, ready to stay high. Did they move? Yes, they sure did. Old Town, that was the first stop. A polar vortex a year later on to the next block. The block was Lakeview, yo, and they enjoyed beers on Broadway Avenue. The summers were hot, filled with humidity, drinks and card games, a winter activity. Jealous, because they're decanting wine. The deer spin on Barry were divine. Ready for the winters and the fall. They share a lot of common, just not the same team for football. Years spent together went swell. Ready for a new name was Macy Michelle. Fallen for each other so fast, jumped on a plane, headed to the Midwest. Snowstorm to rain, the humidity, the weather was whack, but soon came another member of the wolf pack. Dan was ready to make it official. You know what I mean? He gathered us up and he got down on one knee. If there was a couple more perfect for each other, Dan and Macy are it. Check out the hook while my DJ resolves it. Yo, let's get to dancing. Word to the Hatfields.
Oh my goodness.
Wow, that was fantastic. How about a hand for your maid of honor, everyone? She didn't need me at all. Nice job. Macy, you look absolutely amazing today on your wedding day. Congratulations to the groom. You even look pretty good too. Congratulations. You are the luckiest man in this room tonight. Folks, we're here for one reason and one reason only. Put your hands together. Make some noise for your bride and groom.
Wow. Well, those are 4 speeches that are hard to follow. But we would be remiss if we didn't have a quick thank you on behalf of myself and my wife, Macy. This day wouldn't have been possible without the help of so many. To my new in-laws, Stephen and Lori Hansen, my parents, Julie Hatfield, David Hatfield, and Gail Pledger. Thank you. You have done more than we have ever asked. And behind every young kid who believes in themselves is a parent who believed in them first. To our siblings, you have all gone above and beyond, and we look up to each of you. To Capra, not only were you our amazing officiant, but you put together so many details from the invitations to the programs to the place cards and beyond. Thank you. Lastly, thank you to everyone that is here today, whether it took 10 minutes in a car or 8 hours on a plane. It means the world to both Macy and me. You all mean so much to us, and we thank you for being here. Cheers to you.